What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, alright, coming back to Seikima-II. Yes, indeed, Seikima-II Fans Feeling You. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbity-bobbity-bop, do me a favor before you do all that stuff. Please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Brett Parks, and Brett wanted to see me react to this song by Seikima-II called The End of the Century. Now, have I heard this song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard this song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, oh, wait a minute, hold it, I recognize this song, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This was posted by Takum666, okay? And the video has 7,600 views. There you go. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Seikima-II, The End of the Century, 4K, 60 FPS. Yeah, we'll see about that. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
今こそ自らの牙で鎖を解き放つ時が来たのだ。すでに戦いは始まっているのだ。さあ武器を取れ、そして殺せ、殺しまくれ。自らの命を守るために。
The vocal harmonies. We may have a guitar solo. Let me back up. Boy. Okay. Boy, if I'm not mistaken, this is the fastest song I have heard from Seikima-II. I think this is the fastest tempo song I think I've heard from them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. God, what is that? Is this like, I'm guessing somewhere between like 160 and 180, somewhere in there probably. It's fast. It's definitely fast. I'm listening to this and I was wondering, is it just, maybe it's a slower tempo and they're just playing it double time. No. If you listen to the phrasing, what's happening within, especially what really kind of made it obvious that if we're going at this tempo is when they got to the chorus and the phrasing of the chorus, it flew by. It just flew by. So yeah, we're at this tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo! That's quick. That is definitely fast. And the cool thing is, even at this faster tempo, boy, they are just playing it clean. Super clean. I like the progression. The chordal progression makes perfect sense. There's this one section. It's not so much a chordal progression. It's more of a melodic line and harmonic line both. It's all based around the root. They go root 5, root 4, root 3, root 2, root. And I down to the 7 and then back up to the root again. I like that. That's catchy. Definitely catchy. Vocal harmonies, as always, on point for these guys in a live setting, which is not easy to do. I've come to expect that from them, and I'm glad to see that, they have this bar set for themselves, and they've hit the bar, so that's good. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I am definitely enjoying it. Speed. I've always found this to be kind of an interesting thing. Whenever you want to play a song that's a little faster, the faster you seem to go, the groove seems to be the trade-off. So you trade off groove for speed. And yeah, speed's impressive. Absolutely. And there is still a groove there, yes. But the groove isn't as dominant because we're going at this faster tempo. Now, when you switch that and you slow it down, groove becomes more prominent. I'm not saying the groove isn't there. The groove is there. But the speed is definitely the emphasis on the song, without question. The groove is there, but it's not nearly as strong as other songs I've heard from Seikima-II that have a slower tempo, but a much more prominent and stronger groove. So, that happens with pretty much every band. I mean, it really does. If you want to play faster, you're going to sacrifice the groove a little bit. So, that's okay. I mean, it depends on what your priorities are. If you're one of these bands that just for example, Megadeth back in the day, back in the early 80s or mid to late 80s Megadeth, you look at what they were doing. Their whole focus was playing as fast as they possibly could. They weren't really focused so much on groove. You didn't really hear groove from Megadeth, honestly, as groove being the focal point. You really didn't hear that until Rust in Peace. And then all of a sudden groove became like the focal point. Yeah, there were still some fast songs. Don't get me wrong. Tornado of Souls, that's a fast tune. There's no way around it. But other songs within that, like Hangar 18, that's a very groove-centric song until the ending, of course, where things turn up. But you found that with Megadeth, it became far more about groove than it was about playing fast. And that comes with maturity, a lot of times. Sometimes you just got to get that out of your system. You want to play fast as possible. And is there anything wrong with that? No, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But as your band grows and as your band gets older, sometimes priorities change. So I don't think that's the case here with Seikima-II. I think they're just trying to diversify as much as possible. Some songs are going to be super fast like this, and other songs are going to be more groove-centric. And then you're going to have your ballads, and then you're going to have your poppier songs. And they're all over the place. They cater to everybody. And is there anything wrong with that? No, because you're going to hit a lot of different demographics. The only downside to that is all those demographics are going to have their particular songs that they like, and they're not going to like any of the other songs. So you'll hit all these different demographics, and each demographic likes 10% of your songs, you know? But if you hit 10 different demographics, that means 100% of your songs will be liked by at least some groups, some people, you know? And that's fine, as long as you get that full coverage. Anyway, let's get back into this, and let's see where we end up here.
The end of the century. The end of the century.
Fire breathing. Wonder where he got that from.
The end of the century. The end of the century. The end of the century. The end of the century.
Yeah, of course, is the hook without question. That's not really different one. Pyro! Pyro! Whoa. Is this the end of the show? Wow. I can't tell if that was the end of the show or not. I don't. The fact that the stage went dark, maybe it's not. Would have been a good way to end the show, I'll tell you that. With everything that was happening on the stage, all the pyro and the sets, converting around, I was like, this would be a good way to end the show. But the way the stage went dark, I don't know. I don't think it was. Huh. Man, that wouldn't be a bad place to be about, about the halfway point. That wouldn't be a bad song to put about the halfway point. Reinvigorate the crowd again. Put it after a ballad. Absolutely, yes. Put that song on after a ballad. Yes, that would make perfect sense. Get the crowd fired up again. That'll do it. That'll definitely do it. Let me get my thoughts together. There's a lot I'm thinking about, but there's a lot of things going through my head, but a lot of it is very repetitive. So I need to compress and scale it down a little bit. So let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Seikima-II with The End of the Century. This was a request from Brett Parks. Okay, I thought about it. I took all the thoughts that were running around in my head, and I was able to compress them down. really, I think I've only got like 4 or 5 things to discuss as opposed to the 30 that were running through my head. So I think we're going to be all right. So let's start with the score and we'll go from there. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that overall presentation an 8.3. Yep, 8.3. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay. First things first, an 8.3. What does that mean? Well, an 8.3 would translate to a great scale rating. So overall, I think this was a great presentation. It would also give 4 out of 5 stars and an A- letter grade. So there you go, an 8.3, great scale rating, 4 out of 5 stars, and an A- letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. Okay, there were a number of factors that came into that score. Number one, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the fastest song I've heard from Seikima-II, which in its own right is impressive. Hearing as cleanly as the band played, as accurately as the band played, as tightly as the band played at this tempo, that's pretty amazing right there. It definitely set a new standard for them, which is both a positive and it could also be a minus too. They just raised the bar on themselves. So if they can play this fast, that cleanly, that accurately, well, I'm gonna expect great things from them, even greater things now. So it's like I said, it works both in their favor and against them at the same time. But it was interesting seeing them playing at this tempo, hearing them playing at this tempo, as cleanly as they play at this tempo. So nice change of pace, you know. Again, another demographic. Now they're going after the speed metal guys, or the speed metal people who love, you know, that fast-paced, quick-paced song, you know, tempo, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. That's going to definitely feed into, a new demographic of people. It's not going to be for everybody. There's going to be a lot of people who are fans of Seikima-II who are going to hear that song and go, not that one. Not a fan of that song necessarily. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that as long as they, there's other songs from Seikima-II they like, then there's no problems there. Like I said, when you diversify and you play a lot of different styles, you're going to hit a lot of different demographics, but all of those demographics are going to be a little thin on the numbers. So it's important to hit as many demographics as possible at that point. So, it's not a bad business model. It's fine. It'll work just great. And over time, you might even grow those demographics even more. As far as the songwriting goes, aside from the tempo, I liked everything I heard. The chorus, without question, is the hook. It's that's the end of the century. It's going to be run through my head for at least the next 3 or 4 days. The chordal progression, the main riff, I like it. It was well done. It sounded good. I like the lines more than the chordal progression. I think I like the melodic and harmonic lines that are happening, both from an ascending standpoint and from a descending standpoint. Especially that one line, and they did it twice, where they based around the root, but they jumped. They jumped integers, so root 5, root 4, root 3, root 2, 7, root. I thought that was really clean. I thought it was very catchy. I think it was very well placed to set up and transition into the next verse. If I'm not mistaken, it was right before the verse. I like that. It sounded really nice. As far as musicianship goes, these guys always deliver. I haven't really had any experiences with them from a musicianship standpoint where I wasn't, I don't think they did a great job. No, they definitely did a great job with their musicianship. Everybody played clean. I didn't hear any flubs. I didn't hear any dirt. Everything sounded like it was really well done to me. Drumming at that tempo, boy, nice job. I never heard him speed up or slow down, man. He was right on beat every single time, so good for him. Bass player locked in with him, of course, which sounded really good. Really got that pocket going. As much as you can get a pocket at that speed. I already talked at length about the trade-off of speed versus groove. I'm not saying that the song didn't have a groove. A groove was there, but because you're playing at a faster tempo, the emphasis is going to be on the speed and not the groove. You slow down the tempo, and the emphasis on the groove increases by default. So I used Megadeth as an example. By the way, I've got a number of people ask me, why don't I ever react to Megadeth? Because, number one, no one's requested them. Number two, if people do request Megadeth, it's going to have to be later Megadeth. Like anything after Euthanasia. You know, anything prior, you know, Euthanasia and prior, don't waste your time, because I know all those albums front to back. I loved those albums back in the day. When Euthanasia came out, it was kind of like the Black Album for me. I was like, nah. I mean, Euthanasia wasn't a bad album, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like the rest of the Megadeth albums I've heard. I definitely saw a transition happening, and I wasn't thrilled. The album that came after that, I think was called Risk. Yeah, I listened to that album once, and I was like, nope, I'm done. Anyway, as far as this song goes, I would give the song on its own, I would give the song about its 7.9. I think that sounds about right. I wouldn't quite put it up in the 8s for the songwriting and the musicianship alone. I'm not quite. Close. Like I said, 7.9, maybe 7.8, but I'm really leaning more towards 7.9. So why am I giving this an 8.3? Well, I have said this time and time again on the channel, literally thousands of times. If you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you know what I'm going to say. So say it with me, kids.
Sing it out one time.
A live show can help your score, or it can hurt your score. In this case, it helped. It didn't help a lot, but it did help. Let's go on the checklist. Let's see. Not showmanship. Stage presence. Yeah, check. They always have stage presence. They always look like performers. They always act like performers. So that's pretty much a guarantee with them. They're going to have stage presence. Stage energy. Check. I've seen more energy from them in the past, but I mean, they still had stage energy, mostly from Demon, but I did see Ace and Luke moving around a little bit, you know, here and there. So I'll give it the check for them. Sure. No problem. Stage interaction. Surprisingly, no. I didn't see any stage interaction. And usually from these guys, I do. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, if I'm being honest. I wish I had seen some, but didn't see any. So that gets a big fat 0 for that one. Now, crowd interaction. I am going to give it a check, but I'm going to give it a little bit of a weak check. I thoroughly believe more could have been done. There really wasn't any crowd interaction done from anybody on stage other than Demon. Now, Demon did do some, but it wasn't nearly as much as I've seen from him in the past. It was very casually done, not a whole lot of emphasis on it, not a whole lot of oomph behind it. I mean, he spoke to the crowd at the beginning before the song started, and that absolutely helps. It absolutely counts. But I've seen far stronger examples of crowd interaction from Demon and from the band as a whole. So it does get a check, but it's a little bit of a weak check. Showmanship, yeah, check. They put on a good show visually. It looks good what they're doing on stage. Now here's where things get interesting. The live show did have an impact, but not that much of an impact. I would only give it about 8.1, honestly. However, there was production, and this is what bumped them up to the 8.3. The production on this was ridiculous. Their outfits, their costumes, they always look good. But on top of that, the ending where they had the set coming down a little bit in the background, and they had all the fireworks going off. You had Demon halfway through the song, you know, breathing fire. Gee, I wonder who he got that from. Come on now. Do you really need to make me say it? Because I'm not gonna. You already know who I'm gonna say. So, but it was cool to see it. It was cool to see him do it, and he did it well. At least he didn't set his hair on fire like that other individual did a couple times. But it was just funny considering all the product he has in his hair. Dear Lord. But it's a lot of production being put into this song. So much so at the end of the song that I started to wonder, is this it? Is this the end of the concert? Because if it is, that's going to be a great ending. As it turns out, I don't think it was, because the song ended, and the stage went dark. So that makes me think it's not the end of the show. Okay, where is this then? Halfway point? It would make sense. You know, maybe 2/3 of the way through to get the crowd reinvigorated again. That makes sense too. After a ballad? Absolutely. It would make perfect sense to put this song after a ballad to get the crowd fired up again. No, it visually it looked great. I mean, the visuals were really well done. So from a production standpoint, I thought the production was outstanding on this. So that's what took us from like an 8.1 up to an 8.3. It all works out in the end, you know. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a whole lot of that will get us up to an 8.3. So yeah, 8.3 for the overall presentation. I feel good about that score, and that's where we're gonna stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have an 8.3, which is a great scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and an A- letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for the night, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.